think of this little studio?
I love it.
This is pretty cool, right?
This is
was a little broom closet, a shirt closet, storage closet for the longest time.
No,
Sean emptied it and built this little studio and put it together for us. You know?
I'm telling you, like,
right?
yeah, this is. I seen you doing it.
Yeah,
I'm like, that motherfucker. Like but it's good for the guys.
Yeah, it's
You know,
awesome.
It's good for everybody.
Yeah, just trying to get more, have conversations.
It's the
The
future.
way we approach conversations with our members. You know what I mean? This is where everybody's at. They're all listening to podcasts.
Everybody.
They're all in video. Everyone's watching videos. No one's
Everybody.
really fucking reading shit.
You're
anymore,
behind.
you know what I
You're
mean?
behind the fucking. You're behind the 8 ball if you're not out in front of it.
That's right.
And this is out in front of it.
Yeah.
100%. I love it.
Yeah, I know we've been trying to put this together for a few months, but I'm psyched that you're here. Dude, you're world traveler, man. You're everywhere.
I know. I'm leaving.
You know?
I'm leaving on the 15th after my mom's surprise birthday party on Saturday. And then Sunday morning, man, I'm fucking on the road.
Yeah.
I literally drive back. I'll be back in Texas on March 18th.
Yeah. So what do you get? Kind of dual residences? You're living in Texas half the time, back here half the time?
I'm up here. I'm up here probably 65% of the time.
Yeah.
I have to be.
Yeah.
I have my son. I have 50-50 custody.
Yep.
So I've been up here since February 16th. I got back.
Yeah.
So I'm leaving after 30 days.
Yeah.
You know, so. And then I'll drive back down to Texas. I'll get there on the 18th in the RV. And then I'll drive right up on the 22nd. We're going to head up to California, Long Beach.
Oh, wow.
And we have the expo.
Oh, yeah, right.
For 4 days. I have to set up, and then 3 days of the expo, and then we drive back, 2-day drive back to Texas.
Yeah.
I'll be in Texas till about April 12th, maybe?
Yeah.
11th.
Yeah, so let's talk about the expo a little bit,
Yeah.
just about M.A.R.C Network, and we'll do kind of a big circle. We'll kind of be all over the place if you're okay with it. Obviously, Marc Fucarile, marathon bombing survivor. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to April 15th, 2013, and we can talk as much as you want to talk about up to all that you've been through, and then where you are now and what's going on with M.A.R.C Network and what you're trying to do.
So April 15, 2013 is when my life changed, forever. We all know here in Boston what happened on that day, on Patriots Day. I was working for a union roofing and sheet metal company, Marshall Roofing, one of the best, Bob Marshall and Mike Kelly and Robin up there. Great company, family-owned business, amazing. We ton of work in Boston. I was working for them. Monday, we had a day off. A group of buddies of mine gave me a call, JP, and asked me if I wanted to go to the marathon. And initially I said no, and then he began to tell me about our buddy, Mike J., who we went to high school with. Mike J. was a couple of years younger than me, but he went into the Marines, and he was in the Marines for a while. And he had just got his retirement. He retired out of the Marines, and he was going to be running the Boston Marathon. So, of course, I was like, yep, I got to go support Mike J., like the right thing to do,
Mm-hmm.
everything he risked for our country and for all of us. So it was like 8 of us that went in to go meet up, and we all met up at the Forum Restaurant, right in front of the Forum Restaurant on Boylston Street.
Yeah.
And we were hanging out, trying to make up our minds, like where to go grab a bite to eat, grab a drink, because we got there a little early, and Mike J. was a little bit later in the, the corral. So all of a sudden, bang, the first bomb went off. We all looked down the street.
So you were right there at the finish line.
So we were 300 yards up from the finish line at the Forum. So we were on Boylston Street.
Yeah.
It's only a short run there. So we heard the first bomb go off. We looked, and it was huge. Man, it was, oh, wow. It was big.
Yeah.
Like the cloud of dust and smoke and stuff was crazy. And 12 seconds later, second bomb goes off.
Yeah.
Right next to my right leg. And, I wake up on the ground looking at the sky and trying to get up. And, through videos and pictures, I could see what happened better.
So you were awake, you were conscious?
I was in and out of consciousness.
Was your head ringing?
Oh, it was bad.
I can't imagine the chaos, never mind. It's part of it.
Yeah, nothing was in color. That's the only thing I can remember.
Really?
Like, it was just gray, and I don't know if it was from the smoke, because I was on fire.
Yeah.
I watched the video through the FBI, the actual camera footage from the Forum Restaurant in another location, while I was in the hospital, because they were questioning me about who everybody was around me, because me and the bomber actually had an interaction, because he kept pushing me, because I kept getting too close to where his bomb was.
Shut up, really?
Yeah, so they were asking me, like, who is he? Who is he? And I didn't understand why they were asking me that. And, and they only played the video to a certain point. And one of the times they showed me the video, it passed by that certain point, and it was me pointing over my shoulder after tapping my buddy. And I was like, oh, I was told JP, like, this guy keeps bumping me.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, that guy bumped me, and I told him to stop bumping me because they were wondering what I said to him. I was like, I don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
And then when I realized by my actions in the video, it reminded me of what happened.
Right. Do you actually remember it, or was it just like you're watching the video going, okay, it's coming back to me now?
Yeah, it came back to me.
Yeah.
That helped because my brain injury is severe. Like
Yeah.
I did 12 weeks of speech therapy to learn how to talk again and complete a sentence. I still struggle a lot keeping my focus, with the brain. I'll always have that brain injury,
Yeah, yeah.
So, my leg was amputated instantly at the scene.
Fucking Jesus.
Luckily,
I mean, someone came
Jimmy
over.
Davis, Kayla Quinn, and there was a firefighter from the local, the close fire station that had came down. Kayla Quinn actually stepped over me. She didn't think I was alive because I was unconscious at that time. She was trying to get, from what I remember, she said she was trying to get to Lindsay Lou, but there was so many people around her. Yeah. She couldn't get in, and she noticed like she wasn't gonna she wasn't gonna make it.
Yeah.
She's a nurse. It's Kayla Quinn.
Yeah.
So Kayla,
And she was at the finish line?
she was across the street, and her and another off-duty nurse rushed in to help people. They were just watching it. Yeah, there's a couple guys and a couple people I've met that were paramedics and that were off-duty nurses and that were there that just ran in to help.
Yeah, thank God.
My buddy from him and his son, Ron, and his son, Ron's a military guy and a medic, and so he ran over, and I've met him now. We developed a lot of good friendships out of the people that jumped in to help. And that's
So
what a lot of...
She put a tourniquet on you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So she came over right away, recognized what was going on.
Yeah, and then she recognized I was still on fire. I had to get the rest of the pants off me, this, that, the whole, she was keeping me calm. She was talking to me.
Yep.
Just amazing. And, I just kept saying I wanted to see my son. You know what I mean? And that was the big thing that day. Jimmy Davis and Shayna threw me in they got me into one of the guys from the Boston Police Department. I actually finally just met him last year at the Red Sox, leaving the Red Sox. He grabbed me. He's like, hey, Mark, I want to introduce myself. He's like, I'm glad I made the decision I made that day. He's like, I've never been able to talk to you about it. But he's like, I had to make the call whether to put you in that paddy wagon to have Jimmy Davis take you to the hospital or wait for an ambulance. And I'm glad we just made the call.
Just get in there and get
I was like, that saved my life.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have
Where'd
been
they
here.
take you?
Mass General.
Mass General, yeah.
Yeah, and then Dr. George Vamos and a few other doctors over there, stabilized me, saved my life, and it was crazy. The last thing I remember was the doors opening up.
Yeah.
And then just people being there, and that was it.
At the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember bouncing my head off the ride.
Yeah, so you were standing next to your buddy JP, who's also...
And Paul, his brother Paul, too.
Right, that's right, the Norton brothers, yeah. And they're amputees as well?
Yeah, so that day there was roughly around 265 injured people. Yeah. Roughly. Depending on the statistics you say. All up and down the whole marathon stretch from both bombs. There was 17 amputees, and 3 people passed away that day. And we were 3 of them.
And you were closest to the second bomb that went off.
Yeah.
No one was closer to it than you. In the Richard family.
Probably the Richard family would be.
Richard family was on one side and you were on the other side.
I just showed you the video,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You could see how close I was. I mean, it was.
Yeah. I mean, I watched the video.
There was my head, the tree, and that was.
Yeah, I mean,
the bomb was there.
I mean, you've seen it a million times, and I have not. And I tell you, it turns your stomach. It really makes you kind of sick to your stomach seeing it live like that. Holy shit,
Yeah, people forget.
Yeah.
And you just saw what happened in New York with the guy that threw the 2 pipe bombs. Those 2 guys that threw the pipe bomb, right? I mean, it's a reality. It's a sad. I mean,
that must trigger some fucking emotional anxiety, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you know what it stems from? It's like everybody wants to do good, but sometimes being good or doing good gets in the way and takes and hurts some innocent people. Yeah. Right? You think you're helping, but you never know. Right. In the real scheme of things, that's, there's all that controversy about open borders and policies with our country. Unfortunately, it's a tough situation, and it's a part of our life now.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's
Yeah.
sad. I love looking at those pictures and videos because, sometimes we get caught up focusing on the bad, right? And we forget about the good.
Right.
And in those pictures and videos, it shows all the people that rushed in to help. That day, 2 bad people did bad things.
Yeah.
But then hundreds of people rushed in to help.
Yeah.
And then millions of people days later that supported us.
Yeah.
So the good outweighs the bad. And unfortunately, we get caught up on that, as a community,
Yeah.
as a country.
Yeah.
I witness it even in the unions, right?
Mhm.
Like you guys, like I work for a union roofing and sheet metal company,
Mhm.
right? And you see the carpenters hate the roofers, right?
Yeah.
And they're fighting, right? Like at the end of the day, everybody's just trying to feed their family. Everybody's trying to work, right? We're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
And, takes more effort to fight than work together.
Yeah.
And that was, we talk about all the good, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The division in this country or in our neighborhoods or with our friends or on social media, but then, you look at how people were brought together by something that's so terribly and tragic that happened. And you look at it at a different lens. I'm there sick to my stomach. Oh my God. And you'll go and look at all these people that came to my rescue. And
Yeah.
I said, what a lens it is to look through. Holy shit.
It's, it takes you a while to get there.
Yeah. It's easy to be negative. It's hard to be positive. And what happened to you was such a bad thing, yet you're so positive. I don't know how the hell you do it.
Yeah, it's, I have my moments at the same time,
course.
but it's like, how can I be mad when so many people support me that don't know me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was like waking up in the hospital and being like, hey, I need my laptop. I need to pay these bills because I was working on my credit to go buy a house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I needed to keep my bills up to date. Like the first thing I went to was, and they said, don't worry about it. People are taking care of your bills. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what? And then that moment on, people were doing fundraisers and benefits and
Yeah.
all this great stuff. And now you, like us, not just me, but I know JP and Paul too, like we took on this responsibility to succeed for those people that supported us. Right.
What a great way to think
Yeah.
about that. Like, you know what I mean?
It's like our relationship,
Mhm.
my relationship with Local 103 really truly began back in the day
Yeah.
with Marshall Roofing, being on job sites, giving a pick to the electrical guys,
Yeah.
getting them up on the roof, getting their stuff up there, getting,
Yeah.
instead of waiting for the elevator all day, helping each other like at the loading dock. I'm there. I'm not going to stand there and watch this guy unload it in freezing cold weather with no gloves.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a pair of gloves,
Yeah.
And those were stories that when I needed that addition on my house and, Consigli showed up to manage it,
Yeah.
you guys donated employees to come and wire and do all
Yeah.
the electrical, and you guys encouraged and got companies to donate electrical supplies, and the roofers did my roof, the heating and plumbing did my heating, and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And it was all that support
Everybody
that I
came together.
received.
Yeah.
And those guys all came to my house, like random dudes on their days off.
Yeah.
Were at my house stripping the siding off my house to get ready to cut through the walls and take the windows out and
Yeah.
replace doors. And they all had stories about running into me on the loading dock, or something that I'd helped them with, like a hard hat that they had gotten stolen out of their job box, and now their boss is sending them home because
Yeah.
he doesn't have the safety gear. Well, I had the credit cards, and I was always the one that supplied the safety gear for
Sure.
the roofers. So when someone's getting yelled at and he's cussing and walking off the job, and I'm like, what's the matter? He's like, wow, my hard hat. Someone took my hard hat. Now I'm getting sent home. I'm going to lose a day. I need that money. I'm like, I got a hard hat for you right here.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, get back to work.
Yeah, the camaraderie in the trades.
Yeah.
From a simple, hey, I got a hot hat right here. I got a pair of gloves for you.
Yeah.
To giving you a pick to the roof to
Yeah.
showing up at your house when you're in the hospital and trying to get
I did
and
all
trying
that.
to make a difference.
I
You know
did
what
all
mean?
that when I-
camaraderie is just second to none, and most people don't understand it, but it really is what makes the union so strong. It really
It
is.
does. And then
You know?
it's sad when you see guys fighting too,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and that happens. We all have tempers. We all have things. And, but I did all that unexpected to receive anything
Right.
back from any
Right.
of that, and
Right.
but I was blessed with all that. And like I said, it really shows
Yeah.
like our community of like what we're really truly the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah. After the explosion at the marathon finish line, you went to the hospital, and then you went to rehab. You didn't go home right away. How long were you in the hospital, and then how long were you at rehab? And
Yeah, that's like a lot of people don't know. You know, the city did do a good job trying to tell everybody we were good.
Yeah.
You know, and
But it wasn't.
we had some
You weren't
arguments.
just good.
Yeah, we
It
had
was
some
a struggle,
arguments
right?
with some of the news stations that
Yeah.
were trying to like, oh, everybody's doing great. It's like
Yeah.
we're all looking at
I'm
each
living in
other.
the hospital here. Now I'm
There
not
are
doing
people,
great.
yeah,
Lost my friggin' leg. I'm not doing great.
yeah, where people were still having surgeries to lose legs and lose limbs.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, me and Jessica Kensky, you know, were fighting to keep our left. Like she was keeping to fight her right leg. I was keeping to keep my left leg.
Yeah.
Fighting. Like we were trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
And then there was Rebecca Gregory. She lost her leg a year later.
Yeah.
Right. And she was fighting that whole time to keep her
Trying to keep
leg.
her leg,
She was a
yeah.
girl from Texas.
Yeah.
Now she has Rebecca's Angels is her nonprofit.
Yep. Yep.
You know, so I did 3.5 years in and out of hospitals before I was really on a prosthetic leg.
Yeah.
Back to kind of normal.
Yeah.
3.5 years.
Jesus.
I actually got blessed with being able to go down to Walter Reed in 2015 for a year. I had to live down there away from my son.
Yeah. Jesus.
It was not easy, you know, and
Yeah.
but through all this experience, I learned so much,
Yeah, of
you know,
course.
to where I am today and
Yeah.
why I do what I do.
So obviously they took your right leg right away. Right?
My leg was amputated at the scene.
There was right. There was
Gone.
no saving it. So they
No.
amputated you. You lost it there. And then I know when we talked, when we first met back, 10, 12 years ago,
Yeah.
I remember you were still having a lot of issues with your left leg, and it was up in the air whether you were going to be able to keep your left leg. And I see that you have the brace on. It almost looks like you're wearing a prosthetic almost on your left leg, but
Yeah.
that's your actual leg, right?
Yes,
And-
it's severely recreated. Many
Yeah.
surgeries later.
Yeah.
I have some serious arthritic pain
I
in it
bet,
every
yeah.
day.
I know you got the scars on your leg, and you have shrapnel still in your leg.
Covered in my whole body. It's in my heart, actually.
Is
It's
it?
in my
Oh.
right atrium. I have nails in my bicep, nails in my abdomen. I have BBs up and down.
That were
Both.
in those pressure cookers.
Yeah.
Those fucking motherfuckers.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Right.
It was,
And you're so,
you know, there's
I mean, you're still dealing with the physical.
every day.
You'll be dealing with it the rest of your life. There's
Yeah.
no question about it. But it's just not like, okay, they cut your leg off now. Here's a prosthetic. You're on your way. You're
No, it's
Yeah.
like all of a sudden you can't wear a prosthetic for 6 months,
Ugh.
right? It doesn't fit because your leg's like. So my leg was. I didn't just have one amputation the day of the marathon,
Yeah.
and then when I got to the hospital, they amputated it.
Yeah.
I had 5 revisions. That means I had 5 amputations.
Ugh.
Like they had to cut bone
Yeah.
because it got infected. I had to wear a wound vac, inhale from the inside out for months. I was 45 days in the ICU at Mass General. I never should have left there.
Jesus.
They moved me and rushed me out of there just to say that we were all out of the hospitals. I was told I would never leave the hospital with a wound vac or an open wound. I left with 3,
Jesus.
and I went to Spalding Rehab, which was funny because Marshall Roofing did a section of the roof at Spalding Rehab, and I brought every material to that job site. You know,
Before that,
Before that. Yeah, right before the-
Well, at least
like,
you knew there
they
wasn't
weren't
gonna leak,
open.
right?
The new
Your
one
room wasn't
wasn't-
going to leak anyway, so you knew that.
It did leak, and it wasn't our section though. It wasn't Marshall's section. It wasn't. My boss made sure
We
that.
might have to edit this part out
Yeah,
for Marshall's.
And you know, I ended up there. It wasn't even open when the bombing happened. It opened up
Yep.
shortly after. And some of the survivors, I was in the hospital for so long,
Yeah.
like I was able to go to the new hospital.
How long were you in the rehab? You said 45
50
days in ICU,
55 days at the
55
rehab.
days. in
And then
rehab.
I was doing day surgery from rehab back to the hospital, back to rehab, same day.
Jesus.
They just kept doing that.
Yeah.
Kept doing that. And you want to talk about like communications, like the person at the hospital didn't like the person at the rehab and they wouldn't
Yeah.
communicate. So you know, you have to fast before
Yeah.
you go in for surgery.
yeah.
They got to do all this blood work. Like this is stuff that people don't know about what
Right.
we went through because we don't like to sound like complainers,
Right.
right? But the reality is it's
Dude, you're a hero. You're not a complainer.
Yeah,
don't, worry,
it's
don't worry
just-
about that, you know?
the fight was a lot of unnecessary days of fighting that shouldn't have been because of people's egos and people just arguing.
Bullshit bureaucracy type
Yeah.
of shit, yeah.
And I would show up at the hospital, right? I mean, you know the Boston streets.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm in physical pain. I have skin grafts where they shaved my skin off my back.
Yeah.
And I have these bandages that are stuck to my back. And it just hurts to lay down. And I'm laying on a gurney and like on the stretcher. And I'm bang, 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 going over these bumps. And everything hurts. And I get there and I haven't eaten. They taking blood. I hate my needles. My veins are collapsing because I've been so stuck and probed so many times. And I hate needles. And they have to do that before surgery, check all your levels and everything. And I get to the hospital, and my doctor comes in and goes, "Why are you here? We canceled this a week ago." And it's like, oh, the communications was so messed up. I was in Spalding, and they were giving me medications that I was deathly allergic to. They were trying to. I had to have advocates sleep and stay in my room. Family members had to take turns staying so I didn't get medication in the middle of the night. They were trying to wake me up and give me medication in the middle of the night. And I mean, I was on 86 pills a day, Lou.
Yeah.
86 pills a day when I got out of the hospital. I'm on none.
Yeah.
I'm on a whole different medication now. I'm on my cholesterol medication and my allergy medication.
Back to normal.
Back to normal.
Back to normal shit. Yeah. Yeah.
In those 86 pills, I weren't even taking those back then. They just pump you like of unnecessary stuff for like in.
I bet some of it though. You needed,
some of it I needed at the time.
Right? I mean,
at the time, 100%.
Manage pain and among other things, getting your body used to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of the pills were to counteract the other pills and counteract.
Right.
Yeah, it was scary. It was a doctor at Walter Reed that looked at me and said, I had my list of prescription medication, and he said, "That's what's going to kill you."
Yeah, right. That's always what kills people, right?
My list was crazy.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
You're laying in the bed, the hospital bed, and you don't know. I mean, you just got there. You've been there a couple of days, maybe. Did you ever have doubts that you were going to make it out of that hospital, or did you always know that I'm surviving this thing? I'm getting past it?
Yeah, it didn't even, never crossed my mind. Like, I don't know if it was just didn't have the time to think about it.
Yeah. And
I was so heavily medicated, Lou.
Yeah,
so heavily medicated. Like, people walked in my room and walked out because they're like, "That's not Marc."
Yeah.
Like, I was unrecognizable.
Yeah. Oh,
like, my whole face was burnt.
Yeah.
Like black. Like a marshmallow.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad. And it's hard to see now, but you can see the scarring under, my beard and stuff from some of it. But
I know you showed me the scar in your hand.
Yeah, that was taking my belt buckle off.
Just to reach the belt buckle, because your
just
body
to
was
get
on
the
fire.
rest of because my pants was, what was left of my pants was still on fire.
Yeah.
But laying in that hospital bed, man, it was, we were blessed, and this is like a big part of what I'm doing is Semper Fi gathered a whole bunch of different combats and just wounded veterans, soldiers that showed up to our rooms to talk to our families, to explain to them that, like, just because they're an amputee doesn't mean their life's over.
Yeah.
And they were there to answer questions and show our families. So that's community.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
It
just shows you the importance of it. And it made everything so much better for all of us, for me, for JP, for Paul, to see people and be like, wow, you're okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be okay.
You were in the hospital? You in the hospital, same hospital with those guys?
No. So JP and Paul, even being brothers, were in two different hospitals.
Yeah.
The distribution of patients was amazing.
Yeah.
By whoever orchestrated or however that played out was definitely something special.
Yeah.
Because they made it so it was always manageable for all those hospitals. If this had happened at the start line, more of us would have been dead.
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
There's seven major trauma hospitals.
World-class trauma hospitals
right here.
Downtown Boston, right?
Boom, boom,
That's what we're known
boom.
for.
They were at Brigham's. They were at Mass General. We were at, Boston City. We were at, the other one JP and Paul were at. I can't even remember. I got brain injury. Brain fog. I'm getting old. But yeah, man, in that moment, I was scared waking up saying, like, oh my God, like, I'm not going to be able to coach my kids' hockey team.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to be his baseball coach again. I'm not, like.
Yeah, it's
what am I going to do?
Little League starts in a couple of days, probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm stuck here. I got to get home.
What am I, like,
home, walk him down.
like, what am I going to do?
You know?
Like, my sister was like, he's going to be living on my couch. I'm going to be taking care of him and feeding him for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
That was what we thought.
Right.
We didn't know any better.
Right.
Like, there was nobody telling us except for when those veterans came in.
Yeah.
And they told us,
Yeah.
so kind of gave that hope, but it's still doubtful.
Yeah.
Because you're like, yeah, you guys got the backing of the U.S. military.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got.
I mean, there's a lot of amputees that come out of Iraq and Afghanistan. I mean, if people see you, they probably ask you if you were
All the
in
time.
Iraq and Afghanistan, I'm sure, right?
All
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah. It's
It was
very,
crazy.
very common at that age. A very common injury for those guys. to
My
come
build,
home. Yep.
my high and tight.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My build and my
Yeah.
age puts me right at that
That's right.
demographic. So
Yeah.
it's always
So you got a lot in common with those guys that are returning soldiers.
They pulled me in down at Walter Reed and accepted me as one of their own. I've done 9 marathons with the Freedom Team now, Achilles Freedom Team.
Wow.
I've gone skydiving with veteran organizations. I did hog hunting out of helicopters with veteran organizations.
That's awesome, yeah.
Nighttime bow fishing with Dana Bowman, like his, my buddy TK, Tim Clun. I play in celebrity softball games. The nonprofit I founded just donated $10,000 to DAV, Disabled American Veterans, because they've always been so inclusive.
Yeah.
And what they do for the veterans is amazing.
Yeah.
I witnessed it out at the Super Bowl. Speaking of,
yeah.
the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Disabled
your
DAV
support.
is a huge, a huge thing that people like to support, and feel good about returning veterans, that you kind of fit into that almost. I mean, the way your injury came was very patriotic. We were attacked. The country was attacked, right? That's patriotic. You were a frontline soldier that day, that's for sure, right?
Yeah, I play, they do a celebrity football game. They did it for years out at the Super Bowl, and then they did away with it after, I think it was COVID, put a stop to it, and they finally just started it back up this year.
Yeah.
So I was a celebrity, right? So witnessing what they do, it's been that way for me for a lot of organizations I support.
Yeah.
And I participated in with a lot, which the marathon brought a lot of media and publicity around me, which gave me a little bit of an edge than most people dealing with what I deal with.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you're a humble guy, but you are a celebrity, and you are a hero. I mean, I think a hero fits more than celebrity does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know you're humble, and you don't.
Yeah.
You don't look at yourself that way, but we look at you that way.
Yeah, I've been blessed.
You took the impact that was gonna.
Yeah, the doctor said, he's like, that impact really, he's like, you did absorb a lot of that because all the BBs that were just in me, like being that close.
Yeah.
But,
nails, BBs, other fucking shit.
I can accept that word of a hero just because, and only reason I can accept somebody saying that to me is because I know I've changed people's lives. Being so outspoken about my prosthetics in my life and, the struggles that I've gone through. And, I know, I had a buddy of mine, I went to high school with his cousin, and he graduated a couple years older than me, and he just reached out to me back a few months ago and was like, hey, man, I'm struggling. I'm in Tennessee. I had my leg amputated in July. Is there any organizations you know down here? Because I know you're connected to so many things because of this. I said, give me a minute. I'll call you right back.
Yeah.
And I called 50 Legs, Steve Chamberlain. And I said, Steve, bro, do you know anybody in Tennessee? I said, you guys got an office? He goes, we do, Chattanooga. I said, all right, I got this guy. He's like, all right, give me 5 minutes. I'll call you right back. And he texted me an address. And then he called me back. He goes, send that address to your guy and tell him to head there now. We're going to put him up in the hotel. This guy's living out of his car now, mind you, this amputee.
Yeah.
He goes, send him to this hotel, and he's going to have an appointment tomorrow. I just don't know what time yet. I'll call you back in 15 minutes. I said, okay. So I sent Todd Lemoyne, I sent him the address, and I said, head there. I said, you're going to be hotel. You can check in under your name.
Unbelievable.
Put up in the hotel. Get ready, because tomorrow morning you have an appointment at POA in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He goes, you serious? I said, absolutely. So within 15, 20 minutes, I had this kid on his way to a hotel with an appointment for the next morning. Within 48 hours, he was walking on a prosthetic leg from the minute of a phone call.
Dude, that's unbelievable. That's heroic.
And I mean, it's just,
You know
but
what I
it's, I don't put, that's not my, it's just,
but
it's what I developed and what I was blessed
that's what
with.
you become, right?
Yeah. And it's, and maybe in one sense of a hero, I could accept that was when I did a media day at Disabled Sports USA ski spectacular out in Breckenridge, Colorado.
Yeah.
I took a couple hours away from my son and went skiing with the media, and they covered me and they talked to me. And years later, a guy came up to me in the airport and recognized me, and he wanted to thank me because I saved his sister's life. They had done interventions with his sister about getting out there and living life again because she lost her leg in an accident.
Oh, shit.
And she became heavy overweight by sitting on the couch for 3.5 years.
Depression set in.
Yeah. But she saw me on TV, and she said, if he could do it 6 months later, I can do it.
Yeah.
And she got off her butt. And then she went back out to hiking. She went back to kayaking. He just wanted to thank me.
Oh, wow.
So, that's why I do the media stuff.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy it. I mean, I just hope it helps somebody.
Yeah.
And it shows somebody a different angle and a different perspective for life.
Yeah. I know you live in Reading, and when you came home from the hospital and rehab, now you're ready to go home. And, after spending the last 3 or 4 months after the bombing, after, your rehab, I think you were in a wheelchair at the time.
Yeah,
I'm
no
not
weight
sure
bearing.
Yeah.
I was no weight bearing. I
Yeah.
couldn't even transfer with
Yeah.
my foot.
So I remember your house was not ready for you to come home to.
No.
And I remember whether it was Consigli that really started that with you through the roofing company, and reached out to a bunch of different trades. And I remember we did some volunteer stuff, and really they put addition on your house and changed your house up. And our guys spent a lot of time at your house and really got to know you. And it was really, that's how I got to know you. And talk a little bit about that whole effort to get you back home in your house. It was, and how everybody came together and what they did.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was obviously amazing, and I had some challenges. We had some hiccups with some of the neighbors and some of the local, political stuff in the town of Reading. But it was amazing, like totally unexpected. Grateful. Couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I'd be in a whole different situation if you guys hadn't stepped up and companies hadn't stepped up. That's where my drive is.
Yeah.
My drive is witnessing every organization and everybody from Simplify, from the Clatter Foundation, from the Greg Hill Foundation.
Yeah.
So many organizations, America's Fund, so many companies and, organizations like Local 103, and seeing what you guys did and how you guys give back all the time. I'm like, this is, I was leaving my job that week.
Right.
I told you to start my own nonprofit with kids with off-street music.
Yeah.
But witnessing that and experiencing and having, knowing that a trade like local IBEW is doing my work on my house, it was like, reassuring.
I remember, Billy Mahoney, Dave O'Loughlin, Phil
Yeah.
Mackley, they
Phil.
were like
Yeah.
roommates of yours for
Yeah,
a while.
yeah.
They were
My wife was like, are they ever going to leave? But they were bouncing from like my house. Then you guys would do something at a church, or you do something out in a community center. You guys always had like community outreach going on. And I was like, what's bizarre? Like being in the union, I never knew. Like, and I wasn't in the union. Like, so I was private. I worked for M.A.R.C. Roofing as a employee of M.A.R.C. Roofing from the building. I wasn't a guy. I was on every job site. I wasn't a worker on job sites. And I mean, some of the trades try to steal me from Bob, but I didn't want. Me and you talked about this when we first sat down about. I always saw myself working for myself.
Yeah.
So if I hadn't seen that, I would have jumped on a union because I know the benefits. I know the package. I know the retirement.
Yeah.
There's all that value.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to be the laborers. Like, come on, Mark. Like, how much is Bobby paying? I'm like, listen, Bobby gives me, I got profit sharing in the business. I said, I get paid vacations. At any time, I just say, my son, I need to pick, go ahead.
Yeah.
They don't question. There's no hard time. I could do, the freedom is what I benefited, not the dollar.
Sure.
Right? And it was, but I didn't know that companies and unions were doing that outreach. Like, and I'm like, these guys need to be recognized for what you guys do.
Right.
Right. And that's kind of why, I reached out with the M.A.R.C network about, Lou, I need help. I got and you're like, Mark, I want to support you 100%. And, you guys chose to, step up, and we got the IBEW, Local 103.
I love it.
With the M.A.R.C network. And it's like, I think it's important that all your workers, all your brothers and sisters there, a part of Local 103, should know and really truly understand what you guys do. And I think other trades and other people out there in the community, they just look at it, the union. Oh, they're a bunch of overpaid guys, blah, 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 right? Like, you hear it. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, right?
Yeah. I mean, people think we suck.
No, it's, there's jealousy of
If you don't know,
everything.
you don't know. And then you see the other side of it, like,
what the value is.
Right.
Really, truly there.
A bunch of overpaid slobs. They actually do stuff in the community.
And they give back to the community, right? And also, like, the more money I make working for you, the more money I could dump back into local businesses, right? That benefit.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a
economy.
cycle. It's economy.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. They think they do, but they don't.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember after we did the work at your house, and you was before M.A.R.C network, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But it was probably 10 years ago now. You
Yeah.
came to a local 103 union meeting, and
Yep.
and the kid from Consigli, I forget his name. He came
Todd.
to, yeah, and
Todd Flanders.
our guy, yeah, that's right, Todd Flanders, and those guys, Dave and Billy and Phil were here, and you get up on the stage and you thank the members, like you told your story, told about the marathon. I remember that place. I never seen that place so raucous as I have that day, to support you and to hear your story, and the applause you got was unbelievable. I
Yeah.
think about that day all the time, and
Yeah, it reminded me walking into the building.
Yeah.
I'm like, I remember the
Right?
building and the room. Like
Yeah.
if I had walked
that's right,
Yeah.
that's right, yeah, the main hall there,
the
yeah.
main hall.
Yeah, but that was great, and for our guys to know that we were part of your recovery story,
Yeah, and
was
I think
was
it's
special
important.
to everybody here, even though they may have not worked on your particular job site or your house, or
But
they
them
may have not
working,
known your story. Everybody knew about the marathon, obviously, and then the fact that we were part of it. I think you telling it that way really made brought it home for them.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's like the IBD. I wear that badge on this shirt, and I get stopped everywhere, man. Like I was just out in San Francisco, thanks to you guys' support for the Super Bowl on Radio Row and bringing awareness to challenges people are facing.
Yeah.
I get stopped all the time and be like, "Oh, my brother's IBEW." Like, oh my, what local's that? I'm like, that's it's Boston. I'm in Florida. I'm here. I'm there. And at the expos that I go to and bring awareness to what we're building as the M.A.R.C Network, people are always coming up to me and just like praising the IBEW, all over the country.
Yeah, here in Boston, 103, we're just one small little flag. I mean, IBEW is nationwide, internationally, even Canada too.
Yeah.
And there's a different local union in every city and every town. So
Yeah.
Our net is cast wide across this country, and everybody knows everybody. And I know that local. I work in this local.
Yeah, my cousin worked there. My brother worked there.
Yeah.
I'm out here and he's there, and I was an iron worker, and I was, so it's
it's a whole nother network that you've tapped into through the IBEW, which is awesome.
It's amazing.
And we love supporting you, because we've always been cheering you on and been behind you the whole way. When did M.A.R.C Network? When did you decide, hey, I gotta step up this? What I'm doing when it comes to,
After 3.5 years, I had to focus on getting better for my son to be a father. And after that, I started being more involved in nonprofit organizations. I wanted to give back, right? And I started really learning from all these different organizations. I started learning from their families and all these different people with different disabilities, the challenges that they face, right? Their struggles. And I encountered those same struggles. I thought my story was one of, right? Like I got taken advantage of. I got sold the most profitable wheelchair, not the best wheelchair. Yeah. And I'm like, well, how do we prevent every family being taken advantage of, right? And all these statistics I started learning, 300 to 500 scheduled limb amputations every day. I'm like, so you're telling me here in the United States that there's 300 to 500 people waking up today missing a limb? And they're going to be just like me, lost, not knowing where to go, not knowing what prosthetic. It took me 3.5 years to find the right socket to wear that didn't have me back at my prosthetics office every couple months. I said, how can we stop this from happening? How can we reach each other? How can we talk? So I just kept doing research and kept learning. And one day at Camp No Limits, Jack Wallace, who's out killing it right now in Italy for the Paralympics, again, he was a camper at 8 years old. He'd lost his leg, and he found camp, and camp introduced him to sled hockey, and now he's like a 2-time, gold medalist, Paralympian. And he came to camp with his gold medal from Sochi, and these kids were looking up to him like he was Superman. Yeah. I mean, the kid looks like Superman. He has blue eyes. He's built like him. This guy looks like Clark Kent. So, but then he left, and you can see the wind come out of the sail. These kids' sails, and I said, and they don't know if they're going to see him again until maybe next year. And I said, this is wrong. Why can my son turn the TV on every day and watch Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski at that time, Edelman? And he can go out in the yard and inspire to be these athletes. But these kids with missing limbs and limb differences, all right, there's over 4.6 million limb difference and amputees living in the United States right now, right? I said, why can't they see athletes like theirs? I said, well, I want to create a network where I can do a scheduled programming, because I know Jack plays hockey on a regular basis. I play hockey against those guys. sometimes when they step down or I step up into a league,
Yeah.
and they're just a part of a team to keep warm during off season. And I know their busy schedules. I'm like, these should be broadcasters. These kids can follow them. They can be inspired. They can motivate them to get out there and do this. I said, that's, what I wanted to do. But like I said, I learned more about some of the other challenges, like where to go to get a prosthetic, what wheelchair to use, and how do you figure that out? You figure it out by talking to somebody that's experienced it,
Sure.
somebody that lives it, right? And that's where initially I wanted to start a television station. But in 2020, I realized no one's watching TV. Everybody's on their phones. So a buddy of mine back about 3 years ago said, hey, man, I should connect you with this guy that builds apps. It's a mobile community app. I said, oh, my gosh, that's it. That's what I need. And I went and I met with this company, and I wrote a check right away. And this company stole tens of thousands of dollars from me and couldn't create a project, and took 7 months of wasting my time. But that was okay. I took it. My lawyer's like, just let it go, take it on the chin, take it as an experience, and start over. So we did. Me and I brought in a family friend to help look at a couple other companies that offered a similar service and find the best one that would be suitable for what I wanted to accomplish. And we found them out of the UK, and we hired them. And they built the M.A.R.C network. It's a free mobile app. It's called the Mobility Awareness Resource Community. It brings awareness to resources available for our community. And our community is anybody facing any kind of challenge, physically, mentally, disability-wise, because we utilize a lot of the same products and services, like drug rehabilitation, mental health, right? In our community, unfortunately, we self-medicate for pain and depression, right? We do it through drugs and alcohol sometimes. Our loved ones, like a mom or a dad that becomes overwhelmed with their child with a disability, will turn to drugs and alcohol sometimes. Mental health, right? So we have, so those are two facilities that, companies that we utilize a lot of, but also physical and occupational therapy.
Sure.
Right? Like, and the best way to figure out what's going to be best for me as an amputee is talking to other amputees that utilized those services somewhere. So that's what we created, this network to be able to share information, share resources, and support, motivate, and encourage each other. And that's what the M.A.R.C network is about. It's a free app. It's in Apple and Google. Anybody can download it. What we need is advocates, right? We need people to advocate on the platform, share information that they have so others could benefit from it. Me and you talked about the expos that we go. I go to.
Yeah.
So there used to be one here in Boston. It's no longer. The nearest one to us is in New Jersey or Chicago. It's crazy because I go to 7 expos a year. They're in 7 different cities.
Yeah. So what are they, like medical health type of expos, or are they actually
Mobility
dedicated
impaired, dedicated to like mobility,
Okay,
disabilities, right?
Yeah.
Autism,
So-
Down syndrome, amputation, spinal cord injuries,
Yeah.
people living in wheelchairs
Yeah.
or on prosthetics, people that need assisted walkers or bathrooms.
Yeah.
Like, it's all that technology.
Yeah, sure.
Which it's very important.
Yeah.
Because if you go to a medical place here in Boston, they're only going to show you what they have. It's like a Chevy dealership.
Right.
They're not going to try to sell you a Ford.
Right.
They're going to show you what they have,
Right.
Chevys. And unfortunately, the medical facilities and even prosthetics offices, some deal with OSER, some deal with Autobach,
Yeah, they're
and some
limited.
deal with others, right? So you could
Get 'em
go
all,
to
get them all in one place, and you go and you can kind of see what the whole industry
see
has
what
to
the whole
offer.
industry's to offer.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say, like,
It's
when I
almost
go
like we go
somewhere-
to trade shows. It's almost like it's like a trade show
Yeah,
for
to see what's to offer.
prosthetics and,
Yeah.
and for medical devices. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is sad that there's only 7 a year.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Right.
They're only in 6 states. How many states are in our country?
Yeah.
So where do the other 44 states go? Where does the family in Maine, New Hampshire,
Yeah.
Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia?
Yeah.
Where do Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Where do those families go? New Hampshire, Vermont. Where do they go to see what the new technology is?
So do you go there as a guest to walk through and see what some of the technologies are,
We
or
rent
do you go and set up shop at a table and kind of offer, M.A.R.C Networks resources to people that are looking for them?
Yes. So we go and we rent a 10 by 10 spot.
Yep.
And we have our whole display, and we have our flyers where people can scan and download our app.
Yeah.
And we tell them what the app's about. So we're just bringing awareness to it, which is tough because we're on a shoestring budget.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And we're trying to do it like one at a time.
Sure.
We have a strategy working with nonprofit organizations, right? We're going to bring in different communities. A lot of nonprofit organizations are struggling on growing their support groups, right? Growing their members. And I've seen the problem in that. And me and you've talked about it this whole episode, supporting one another, coming together as a community.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, a lot of nonprofits view other nonprofits, which I'm a public benefit corporation. We're, you know, a B Corp. And we have the nonprofit, the Remarkable Foundation, which is our 501c3.
Yep.
That's our avenue to give back to the community. But the M.A.R.C network, when I talk to other organizations, they're like, oh, they view other organizations as competition, right?
Yeah.
That's the old mindset. You know, we can get more and better together than we can being individuals. And that concept has been proven out in business. My business partner's brother-in-law proven that out with big companies in the retail business, right? Pooling your data together works out benefit for everybody.
Sure it does, yeah.
It does. It just does. It's and people get stuck on this. They think it's always competition, right? But if we're all in it to help people, we all need to come together and introduce our community to other communities that they can benefit from.
Yeah.
And in return, that community from that nonprofit introduces them to our community, and then we benefit from.
Yeah.
And we all grow together.
Yeah.
So yeah, the M.A.R.C network, we're out there just trying to bring awareness to what we're doing. We have investment opportunities. We have we're a digital advertising marketing platform. Our community doesn't even know about certain products that are available to them because these companies can't advertise to us.
Right.
There is no one central location for us as a community with people facing these challenges. You know, I'm in a wheelchair 80% of the time, right? But I'm not a spinal cord injury.
Right.
So people in wheelchairs view me as an amputee, not as a wheelchair user.
Right.
But in reality, I'm more of a wheelchair user than I am
Right.
a prosthetic user.
Yeah.
And it's this conception of what people are, right? And it's not really truly opening your mind and listening and seeing what people really are about.
Yeah.
It's like MS, Parkinson's, CP.
Yeah.
They're all wheelchair users at some point or eventually.
Yeah.
And not just spinal cord injury people use that. So our community is made up of 60 million people here in the United States.
Oh.
We control $1 trillion in spend. Globally, we're 1.8 billion people that are affected by mobility disabilities. Globally, and we control 13 trillion in spend, right? Companies spend 400 billion a year on digital advertising. 400 billion. They spend 200 billion on cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah, right.
They spend more money getting you to be a customer than protecting, right?
Right.
So we're in the right world.
Yeah.
Digital advertising.
Sure, that's where everything is at now,
Yeah.
right? Everything's digital. Everything's on the end of your hand.
Yeah.
In the phone, right?
But the big thing is, Lou, is it's a win-win. It's a win for the companies, and it's a win for our community.
Yep.
Because our community needs to know what's new.
Yeah.
I've been pulled over and like, oh, what's that wheelchair? I'm like, I've had it for 12 years.
Yeah, right.
I've never seen it before. No kidding.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, Lou, would you invest in a business that you can't even advertise your product to because there's no way to do it?
Yeah, right.
And then HIPAA, right? No. So us as a community, by being divided individually by our disabilities, like, oh,
Right.
you're blind,
Totally
join the
limits you,
Coalition of
yeah.
Blind. Join the Amputee Coalition. Oh, join the spinal cord, community. Join MS, join CP, join stroke survivors. We're weak. You know what I mean? Because our numbers are separated. But if we all
Individually,
came
right,
together, we have a bigger, stronger, powerful voice.
Yeah.
And it gives these companies a chance to advertise to us, also to invest in us, invest in our community, invest in our future. Because I'd rather just go buy a pizzeria and sell pizzas.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm going to make more money quicker and faster than I develop a new wheelchair, right?
Right.
That could change the world. But it would take me forever to recoup my investment. But if our community would get to one location where people could advertise and tell us and we could find these products, we would have better lives.
Yeah.
And that's it's a community of communities, the M.A.R.C network, where we want to take over a lot of the expenses for nonprofits on our platform to help promote their events.
Yeah.
Where they could share their events and grow their events, make them bigger, make them better.
Is that what the Radio Row at the Super Bowl is all about? It's just bringing awareness?
It's bringing
Or is
awareness.
it kind of like another trade show or another...
It's a combination of both.
Yeah.
It's a combination to motivate and inspire people with disabilities. It's to show, because a lot of people with disabilities feel like, and everybody I talk to is, you wake up in that hospital or you in that room with the doctor and you get that diagnosis. Even the family, you feel alone. You feel like you're on an island. The Radio Row shows people that even though an NFL football player or ex-NFL football player is a 100% physical and able-bodied person, they still face challenges.
Sure.
And this is how they overcome them. We get that diagnosis, I lose my leg. That's just a challenge to overcome. It's all the same.
Right.
It's all the same. Divorce, that's a challenge. Mental challenge to overcome.
Sure.
Right? Losing your job, it's a challenge. But it's about overcoming them challenges.
That's right. I mean, life is all about challenges, and
Every
teaching
day.
people how to overcome them is it's just survival right there, right?
But seeing somebody else overcome something, it makes you feel that it's possible. And that's the message with the Super
Sure.
Bowl, right? And with these athletes, it's like, hey, even though he played in the NFL and he made all this money, he still struggled mentally. He
Sure.
still struggled being away from his family, just like you in the hospital. Like I was in the hospital 3.5 years. I was away from my son. These guys are on the road. They're away from their family too.
Right.
Granted, they're making the money,
Yeah,
or they're
it's a
getting
little
paid.
different,
It's their
but
job and it's their
similar
choice.
struggles, yeah.
But it's like, hey, we're all human. Like, and these guys are facing the damage that they're doing to their body. They're gonna need the same equipment that I use. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of brain injuries.
Yep.
Oh,
sure.
and we could help that community of football players. Because I have a guy, Leonard, Lewis Leonard. He actually played for the Patriots for a short run. Lewis Leonard, and I talked to him and his wife. From his, the hitting and hitting and hitting, he has Parkinson's.
CTE, Parkinson's.
He has
wow,
Parkinson's, and he has kidney disease, and his feet, his ankles are like fused, and his wrists, he can't even like bend his wrists. This guy's struggling.
Yeah.
But now he's into this world of struggles, and there's nowhere for him to go to get that handbook,
Right.
to talk to people. He's in a powered wheelchair. I'm like, that's the wrong chair. You shouldn't be in that one.
Right.
You should be in something like this. And he's like, well, I didn't know.
Right.
I'm like, see, if you were part of my community
Yeah.
and you talk to somebody, we would make smarter choices.
Sure.
Because
So now it's just getting the word out about getting into that community, right?
it's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's just about, so what we need as the Mark Network is Lou, and I'm not political in any sense with this. I was just at the dentist office and I was watching the news, and they were drilling walls about Minnesota and the fraud. And they were talking about so in 2014, I'm just putting these numbers out there, it was $1 million were into programs for children with autism in 2014. And then it showed the progression. And last year they did 347 or 8 million into children with autism. Minnesota, their population's 5.7 million people, and they're dumping 300, and that for programs for children with autism.
Right.
I have a business plan with my business partner. We need $2 million to kick this off and change 60 million people's lives for $2 million.
Yeah. Right.
I need that state money. I need that funded. I need that support. I have the team. We got Marble Street Partners, right? Ken Marshall and Mike Curtin. We have John Stoner, who's the CEO, CFO, Children's Hospital out of Ohio. He's my business partner's brother-in-law.
Wow.
On our advisory board. Jen Frazier, Granite State Adaptive Sports, 30 plus years doing adaptive programming in New Hampshire. Physical therapist.
Yeah.
Kirk Hansen, an amazing businessman with data and unbelievable. We have the team. I just need the funding to change 60 million people's lives. We're dumping, as the state of Minnesota is dumping 300 million into autism, children with autism, which is probably maybe 70,000, maybe in the whole state.
Yeah, right.
I can change the life with 2 million and be profitable in 18 months.
Right.
And that's just starting locally here in the United States. We're obviously planning on going global and helping 1.8 million people.
That's amazing. Yeah.
1.8 billion people.
Yeah.
So bigger than the population of China. So like that's our goal. Like that's my goal. But like I said, I'm seeing these states in even here in Massachusetts, we have a ton of money going into programs. Like this is a program that benefits everybody in the state. Occupational physical therapists, mental health. Imagine you right now, like me, I woke up in the hospital and it took me 3.5 years to figure it out. You know that struggle mentally? I thought I was okay. I wasn't okay.
Right.
It changed and destroyed my sons and my relationship. As a young kid, I was angry. I was confused. I was scared. Now imagine just by opening an app on your phone and being able to communicate with 1,000 other guys like me.
Yeah. Right.
What that would have done. What it would have seen if I could have opened up that app, So scheduled limb amputations, we can actually get this to early care, to doctors and nurses, to give people when they get that diagnosis, like, Lou, you're going to be amputated next week. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Panic sets in.
Yeah, sure.
It takes 10 years to build a network for a family with disabilities.
Sure. Shit.
Caretakers, wheelchairs, providers, and you piss through them, because I went to a physical therapist. They knew nothing about amputees, and I wasted 2 weeks with the physical therapist that didn't know anything about prosthetics.
Right.
Then I had to go find another one. So I wasted 2 weeks of my life. But I also wasted 2 weeks of paid by my insurance company. Right? So imagine being a week away from being amputated. You could open up an app and you could see me doing marathons. You could see someone skiing on a monoski with a family. You could see them skydiving. You could see them snorkeling with the organization that takes you scuba diving as an amputee. Watching people play sled hockey.
Yeah. It's
Showing
not the end
you.
of the world, right? And,
And that's where it changes the negative to a
that's
positive
right,
in your
that's right.
mindset.
Yeah.
And it helps that family recoup.
Yeah.
And also to say,
You're an
well,
amazing example. You know what I mean? You really are.
I lived it.
You know?
Lived it.
Yeah. I mean, you
And
you
I know
more
the
than lived it.
struggles.
Yeah.
So that's where this is a benefit to a state program, right?
Yeah.
Like, all these organizations helping, workers, or, Black Lives Matter or LGBTQ, you know what I mean? Like these groups came together.
Sure.
That's what the disability community
That's
needs
what
to come together.
The union does.
And make,
with power in numbers, right? There's
a cappella singer versus a choir. Who you gonna hear?
Right.
And we as a community need to get together.
Yeah.
Because we have handicap parking, even in this state, right? In every state.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between handicap parking and accessible device parking, meaning like wheelchairs, walkers for your mom, for your dad, right? Your grandmother, your grandfather. A family that has a kid that's autistic to the point where he has to be strapped into a stroller. We need that 3.5 feet, 4 feet between vehicles to get those devices between our cars. That should be 100% different than handicap accessible.
Sure.
Like you could have a bad hip, a bad knee, or a bad anything, and you can still get in and out in a tight spot.
Yeah.
I can't.
Right.
I need my door to fully extend to get my prosthetic foot out between the pillar and the seat.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that.
Right.
That's why we need these parkings.
Right.
And I always say it, as a community with those numbers, the power in numbers, what happens is I don't need legislation written. I don't need laws written. We control $1 trillion in spend every year.
Right.
We can go to Home Depot and say, Home Depot, if you're not going to put in these accessible parkings spaces on both sides, because me and my wife are both in wheelchairs. You go to a handicap parking spot, it's the lines are on one side.
Right.
Well, what about me?
Right.
I can't get out now.
Right. Yeah.
So I can go to Home Depot and say, Lowe's is going to put these in. If you're not,
Right.
I can one message to my whole community on my mobile app. You know as well as I know, if my son's in a wheelchair and Home Depot isn't going to do what Lowe's is going to do,
You ain't going there, right?
I'm going to Lowe's.
Right.
You get a loyal customer
Right.
by supporting their loved ones that need it.
Yeah. I forgot your wife is also in a wheelchair full time, and
And she was born with
get
no
challenges.
arms and no legs. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, she's an inspiration though.
Yeah, Texas A&M graduate,
Yeah.
smart as a whip, too smart.
Yeah.
You know?
I love following you guys on social media. You know what I mean? That's the easiest way to follow people these days is on social media.
And that's why I built an app.
It's awesome.
It's a
yeah.
social
Yeah.
media app.
Yeah.
You can like, comment,
Yeah.
direct message each other. You can communicate with physical and occupational therapists
Yep.
right on our app. Other physical and occupational therapists can communicate
Yeah.
with others and ask them questions
Sure.
about a patient they might have.
Yeah.
Obviously, without using names and HIPAA.
of course, yeah.
But just say, hey, I got a patient that's 45 years old, that's struggling going up and down stairs with an X3 prosthetic. How did you get your guy to do that?
Yeah.
Right? And you can share the tips, the tricks of the trade.
Yeah. Girl who used to work here, close friend, her son just got paralyzed in a motorcycle accident. And I'm not sure. They're just fresh. I think it's been a year. They just he's in a wheelchair at the house, trying to kind of go through the same stuff that you went through. A little bit different of an injury, but still the same struggles, same challenges, same struggles.
Yeah, it's trying to find the right doctors, trying to
Yeah.
find the right. I suggest stem cell.
Yeah.
My buddy who was shot in
Yeah, I'm gonna put them in
combat.
touch with you for sure. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
No, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
And that's what the network, like
Right.
in Radio
That's
Row,
a network,
it's
exactly,
about asking for help. You can't do it alone.
Right.
It's easier to do with help from others. But again, you can't be a taker. You got to be a giver too.
Right.
It's a two-way street. You
100%.
got to help and take. At first, you take, and then you give.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're in a situation where you need the help.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
it's amazing. And like again, you guys have been great supporting me on this crazy wild journey that I'm on, and I'm all over the place, but I'm not. I'm focused. We have bigger dreams, bigger picture for the M.A.R.C Network.
Yeah, we're proud. We're proud to support you. Right? We really are. We believe
we
in
need
helping our neighbors and our friends. And if if we can support you, reach out to more.
Yeah.
Then that's a win-win. That's what we're all about.
I love it. And we have the foundation, the nonprofit Remarkable Foundation. We have a big event coming up, April 17th, for a family in Woburn. Mark Hutchinson, he's CP, cerebral palsy. He's in a wheelchair. His caretaker passed away, so now his sister has to step in. His mom passed, and she needs to bring him into her house to take care of him because it's 24-hour care for him. So we have in Woburn, so we're always looking for support. The Remarkable M.A.R.C Foundation. Well, Remarkable M.A.R.C, not K in Remarkable.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll post that. You gave me that flyer. We'll post that flyer as part of this. I think we can do that. I think we got the technology.
Yeah, I think I read it. I can do that.
Yeah.
So we have that event.
And
then we got an event at King's. We're going to be selling tickets on Marathon Monday.
Oh wow.
The sooner people buy tickets, the bigger head count I can get and rent more and more of King's.
Yeah.
We need sponsorship for King's too, from businesses and corporations to cover some of the food for the runners. I think it's $60 a ticket.
Yeah.
King's is right at the top of Boylston Street.
Yeah.
Right there. It's a short walk over to the.
Yeah, right. So Marathon Monday, right? So there's been 13. This will be the 13th marathon since the marathon bombing. What's Marathon Monday like for you? I mean, every day is a struggle and a constant battle, and to be positive. What do you wake up on Marathon Monday every year? How does that day go for you?
It's a mixture of different emotions. You know what I mean? It's crazy. There's no real one. I mean, it's a roller coaster all day, every day. You know, we have people that always say, "Oh, just leave him alone. Let him just rot in jail. Let's not hear about him anymore." I'm like, well, unfortunately, I got to wake up every day and jump in a wheelchair or put a prosthetic leg on, so I'm reminded of him every day.
Every day, yeah.
Like, I wish I could just forget about him and what he did to me. Like, because you're fine, right? Like, because you had, some smaller injuries that day that you're not reminded of every day. That day's a reminder. That day is a reminder of, my life changing. Not necessarily, for the worst, but not for the best either.
Right.
A lot of good has came out of that situation that day. But there's a lot of negative that came out of that situation for me that day. Yeah. Like I said, my relationship, it totally changed my relationship with my son. Like, totally changed it. Yeah. And like, we're finally, now that he's 18, he's growing up and he's maturing, like, he's starting to get it.
He's starting
to understand it. But it was hard, man. It was a hard go.
How old was your son when that happened?
My son was 5.
5 years old.
Yeah, almost 5 and a half. Yeah. 5.5 years old, actually. And then.
And we were talking earlier, like, he was almost with you that day.
Yeah, he should have been.
He would have been right next to Martin Richard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You guys are right there together as a couple families. Crazy.
It was, he should have been there.
So what a blessing that he wasn't, right?
He wanted to go to Teddy Bear Picnic.
Yeah. Thank God.
Thank God. Yeah.
Teddy Bear Picnic, right?
Yeah, and that was because he was in daycare, not in kindergarten.
Yep.
If he was in kindergarten like he should have been, if he was born on the initial day, he would have had to come with me.
Right.
Because I wouldn't have had anybody to watch him.
Yeah.
But because it was a daycare, the lady had a lot of first responders, and she's like, "No, we're open." I was like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
But that was my first day off in 21 days.
Yeah.
21 days. I worked Saturday, Sunday, and then, like I told you, I went to real estate school for 2 Saturdays and 2 Sundays in a row. So for 21 days, I hadn't had a day off.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
But we're blessed. We're grateful for all the support the IBEW does, Local 103, you guys. I'd love to get some more of those business trades. I'd love to get into the state and see. I know there's funding in the state. We got to fill out a grant. We had our number and stuff. It's just there's really 2 of us running the whole M.A.R.C network, so it's really difficult. Yeah. We need a lot of different support. So if people can reach out, we're always looking for corporations, businesses, companies.
Yeah, we talked about the other trades, and
we need advocates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we need advocates too, like people in the medical field and we want to really get into the early care. We have strategies in place that we're putting together, and we're going to be doing a pretty good push. But it always comes down to money.
Yeah, of course.
It's always funding. I mean, with the funding, we could literally change millions of people's lives every day.
Yeah, $1 at a time. We'll get
that's
there.
it. We'll get there.
And like I said, we're so proud to support, financially. Your
You
Marc
guys have
network,
been
so you can
savior.
spread the word and spread the love around.
Yeah,
You know what I
it's
mean?
been
Yeah.
huge, man. It
Yeah.
really. Oh, and with that being said, we do have something that we wanted to give you. And I know it's been a couple of years, but there's a little something for the IBEW and for yourself. And I know there's some major players. We have, we
Challenge
got
coins.
the challenge coins that says, thank you for your support, and that's like a global. Because
everybody loves challenge coins.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
so I have a
these are
couple
awesome.
here for you and a few of the
that's
guys.
awesome. Yep. Good.
And then, I'm sweating over here, dripping and dropping everywhere. But we also, I have a shirt for you with the local IBEW,
That's awesome.
the M.A.R.C network, that you guys are always great supporting us. I
Yeah.
wanted to give that to you.
Awesome.
And
love
man,
it.
it's huge. I
Logo looks great next to the M.A.R.C network.
yeah,
Really
it
does.
does.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So it's we've been blessed,
Yeah.
and I've been blessed really, and I couldn't even ask for anything more with you guys, but I always do.
Yeah.
You know what I
Nah,
mean?
that's okay, because we appreciate the friendship that we have with you, and we support your mission and getting the word out and everything that you went through that day. That weighs heavily on this whole region, and we want to be supportive. Our members want to be supportive of,
I know.
of guys like you, because our members are guys like you.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
was a guy like
Yeah,
you guys.
right,
You know what I mean?
right,
I was
yeah.
standing on those
Yeah.
platforms, the loading docks,
Yeah.
with electricians, riding up and down the elevator
Right.
with material. Helping them offload and unload different material. You know, that's what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
You're one of us.
yeah,
We're one of you. We're all
100%.
we're all the same, right?
I
Suburban neighborhood, and you know what I mean. Just like everybody.
Stoneham. I grew up in Stoneham.
Yeah.
All these guys live in Stoneham.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of these
Yeah.
Marc. I can't remember Marc's last name right now. He's IBEW Local 103. Is
Yeah.
my brother's neighbor, right across the street from my brother in Stoneham.
Right.
My brother's father-in-law, Richie Fresco. He was a local IBEW 103 guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stoneham's a good working class town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trades are littered in towns like Stoneham and Reading,
all day.
Woburn.
Yeah.
I grew up in Billerica. Tradesmen everywhere. You know what I
Everywhere.
mean?
Wilmington.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
and
Wilmington. Yeah.
so I am, and I love the connection, and it's just a.
Yep.
It speaks so much of like the whole support of what it means. I'm that living example of complete strangers supporting one another.
Yeah.
Like, you saw the picture of me laying on the street,
Right.
bleeding out, unconscious.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
saw the picture of me on fire, waking up, trying to
Right.
get up. It's without the support of your company and so many other companies and individuals, I wouldn't be standing here wearing this prosthetic leg, wearing this shirt, living my life the way I do.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that support. And it just shows how important and how successful people can be when they have the right support.
Right.
And that's what the M.A.R.C network is all about. It's about supporting families and people and the community that services us, like occupational physical therapists, like nonprofits. The importance behind supporting and giving support to each other is huge.
Yeah.
It changes the life.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to be support. You'll always have a supporter here.
Yeah.
At this
I know.
At the local 103, you'll always have.
Well, you haven't said no yet, so.
No, we're not gonna. We're not gonna. We believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
We believe in the challenges and want to be supportive of them.
Like I said, if one's never enough, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what's sad. I've seen great inventions and great ideas, amazing ideas, just not get the support it needed.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that every day, and I worry, and I'm like, I know I got Lou in my back. I know I got Lou in my pocket. Like, I know I'm good, but and it makes me work harder to show you that.
Do you have a website?
Yeah, we do. We have, and that was I was actually going to mention. It's the M.A.R.C. M.A.R.C. network.world.
Yep.
So if you
Well,
know,
because we can put that on the expressway sign.
yeah.
We can just, that's free advertising.
Oh
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I would
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that
Absolutely.
would be huge
Yeah.
for the M.A.R.C network and
Yeah,
for the community of
absolutely.
people, early care and
Yeah, certainly if you got events that you want to advertise, certainly we could
Yeah.
put them up there.
Oh
You
my
know what I mean?
gosh.
And then
Well, that'd be huge.
the Mark Network.
That would be
for your
huge.
to advertise your website and get people to drive people to it and to your
Yeah.
mission. You know.
And then that would be huge for my
Yeah.
sponsors too, right?
that's right.
In the sense of maybe not their logos,
Right.
but the Mark Network is going to be broadcasted on that sign
Right.
X amount of times a week or a
Right.
month or whatever. And that would drive business. That would drive an exposure
Yeah.
to the site,
Yeah.
which
that's
then would
that's the least we could do. That's
that would be honestly that's huge.
Yeah. I feel like we're part of the Mark Network.
You are.
You know what I mean?
Like,
yeah.
literally from the
know?
ground up.
Yeah.
From the day I got out of the hospital
Mhm.
to the you guys. I mean, I know you guys did stuff Boston Strong.
Yeah,
Right.
course, yeah.
Everybody did. You guys have it on your shirts,
Yeah.
bringing awareness, talking about it, donating. Your guys donated.
Yeah.
100%. There's no question.
Yeah.
So many people did. So literally from day one, your members and you guys have been there.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the foundation was my house.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Which motivated me to give back to this community.
Yeah.
People like you guys that helped me. So literally IBEW and so many other people are a part of
Yeah. Right.
the
Yeah.
Mark Network.
It's awesome.
You guys built me. You guys are a big
Yeah.
part of my mission and drive to help others.
Yeah.
It's just by watching examples of what you guys did.
Yeah.
And like I said, when you were at my house, you guys were going somewhere else. Like, we won't be back tomorrow. We have to go do this.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, no worries.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Thank you. You know?
Yeah.
And seeing that you guys were just more than me,
Yeah.
you were helping so many other people is what inspired me.
Yeah, I remember the day I was out there. I think they had just done plastering and putting woodwork on, and
Yeah.
I think the elevator was just getting that lift you had in there getting going.
You know, the elevator's still not running.
Is it? I'm not shocked.
No, but it's
I'm not
it's
telling
no
you,
one's
teasing.
fault. It's no one's fault but mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when we have, I know you're coming in before the building trades. It's at the elevator constructors hall, so we'll be able to. Maybe we'll be able to get that thing running.
It's not their fault though.
No, I
No,
know.
it's not. It's
Yeah.
not their fault. It's me getting the permits signed off on.
Oh yeah, no worries.
You know, it's all on me.
Yeah.
It's been all on me.
Yeah.
I take full responsibility for all that. These guys are ready to go.
Yeah.
They're waiting for the phone company to come in, and
Good.
I was just so busy living at
Yeah.
Walter Reed,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
finding the right company, and
Yeah.
they needed to have a backup battery, and then the line had to be ran.
Right.
There was nothing to do with
Yeah,
them.
no worries. Yeah. But
They were amazing. I mean, I did put an elevator in my house, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, a lift.
yeah. But this has been great. I really appreciate you coming on.
No, I appreciate you
You're
having
talking
me.
about everything that you've been through. You've been through a lot, and your story's amazing. It's
Thank
such
you.
an awesome story. It's sad. It's uplifting. It's happy. It's emotional roller coaster to hear you talk about everything that you went through on that day, April 15, 2013, and everything in between since that day. It's
Yeah.
amazing to hear your story, Mark.
It's-
You're an amazing guy.
It
you know?
amazes me to hear my story sometimes,
Yeah,
you know, and
Yeah.
reflecting on everybody is
Yeah, you're
It's
inspiring,
amazing.
man.
Humbling.
You inspire me, and you're easy to get behind, and
I
you're easy to
appreciate
help. And our members see it and believe in it too. So
yeah.
thanks so much for coming on this tiddly little nothing
Yeah.
podcast.
I need this,
I
Ron.
love talking to you.
Yeah. Well,
really
we
do.
talk all the time anyway,
I
so
know
I
we do. I know
appreciate
we
you answering my calls because sometimes I'm a pain. But
No, not at
again,
all.
if there's anybody out there in your hall, their family going through anything, it doesn't have to be amputees.
Yeah.
I'm connected into the community
Awesome.
of all types of disabilities. And that's the biggest thing. These nonprofit organizations, they don't just help amputees.
Right.
You know,
Help
they don't
everybody,
just
yeah.
help spinal cord injuries. They help everybody.
Yeah, all those injuries, they all overlap.
They all
Right,
overlap,
right,
man.
yeah.
Like I use the same skiing device as a spinal cord injury.
Yeah.
I can use the same as MS and Parkinson's and CP, and we all utilize the same equipment.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about it. So I have enough knowledge to help so many others
Yeah,
people.
yeah. Marathon Monday's coming up. It's certainly.
We'll be at King's. If you want a ticket, check out the remarkablefoundation.com.
Yeah, we'll put that on the sign.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, that'd
for
be
that
cool.
event.
For that event?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to come, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
I hope.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many guests you need? That's all you got to tell
All
me.
right. That's awesome, Mark. Thanks so much, buddy.
All right,
Love you,
bud.
man. Really
I
do.
love you. Thank you.